I'm a Marxist. First thing which I learned from Marx was what is visible is not real. What is observable is not real. Go beyond and behind and find the forces which shape society. In that quest to identify what shapes society, what are those forces, I have applied Marxist class theory to social analysis. And the method is materialistic interpretation of history. Why? Because I must justify. Why? Because what Marx said, a human being has to produce before he or she eats. In that process, you create productive relations, social relations, and also instruments of production. Some of you were asking questions on technology. Marx also taught me nothing hangs in the air. It's grounded in the material foundations of society. And material foundations of society keep on changing. If Newton said Earth is not stationary, Marx said that, and he paid great tributes to Newton, and Marx said material foundations, since they keep on changing, social structure, social arrangements, social relations of production, the superstructure, the ideas, the ideologies, they all keep on changing. And in that process, there are sometimes epochs, and those epochs are disruptive. Disruptive epochs terrify people. They are used to a particular kind of stable structure. You find safety in stability. No. The stability may be status quoism, a refuge of the complacent, lethargic mind. So what disrupts social relations? And how to handle that disruption is a task before the whole decolonized world. They disrupted us to rob us, to rape us, to plunder us. Now we are disrupting those social relations to build something new in the present global situation, which is itself fast changing. Hence, fundamental changes stare at your face, and you have to grapple with it. Grapple with change. We are all children of history. We cannot ignore it. However, many a time you become victim of that history. Historical reference points continue to dominate you, even when they have lost their relevance. Why relevance has been lost? Because there is a historical context. If every text has a context, large social responses also have a context. What do we call as crisis points in society? You refer to the present. It's not the first time that crisis points have emerged. Students of wars have said, this is a crisis, a simplification of this. War is only one manifestation of that crisis. I am again bringing it to the issue of disruption. The factors and forces which disrupt social relations so that new social relations are created. This process goes on. There can be no construction without destruction. There can be no new unless until the old is tackled. And many a time the old is buried very, very deep in the graveyard. The absolute majority of Indians are victims of the old. The old haunts them. He talked of transmigration of soul, all sorts of stupidities. But the explanation is there was a context. So what you referred, the heritage, we are children of history, we carry that burden over our shoulders. However, it's the task of every new generation to question that inheritance. You preserve what you want to preserve, destroy what you want to destroy. Why? Human beings are conscious beings. That's our definition. We are thinking beings, rational beings, hence questioning beings, inquisitive, inquiry, scientific method of inquiry. Once you question this, many of the past things which were considered sacred come tumbling down. One more thing, refer to the big contests in historical epochs. One of them I will like to refer, the contest between modern scientific method of inquiry and faith. When I came, you were talking something about religion. Every year there is a survey of non-believers in European countries. Once I was giving lecture in University of Canterbury. After lecture, professor wanted to see me the Church of Canterbury, a historical thing. Do you know it was lying absolutely empty? No believers, no worshippers, no one. How this process happened? How this process happened? Christianity was as obscurantist, as tradition-bound, as superstitious as other major religions of the world. Because when you did not have answers, you said, Creator is creating. There is a creator because you have no answers. Why rain? Why light? Why this? Why that? Why earthquake? So you surrender that judgment. Modern science says, don't surrender your judgment. Find answers. So natural phenomenon has to be investigated. and it has direct impact on social relations. Social relations. So relationship between nature and society. This is my answer to the past. I cannot ignore my past. I cannot ignore my heritage. I am a child of that. I am a product of that. My memory plays a decisive role in my every activity. And what is my memory? In this society, it's memory of religion only. Because explanations have come in the name of theology, religion. This whole Islamic turbulence. What is the explanation for this Islamic turbulence at the present? What is the explanation for identity on the basis of religion asserting itself? Is it a defensive thing? Are they threatened? Do they feel that their existence is getting threatened? Why is it happening? Do they feel that their survival is at stake? So the question is, past is past. Past cannot be lived in the present unless until you have gone to sleep and taken opiate. The idea of future is also born from your surroundings in the present. There is no breakdown of past, present, and future. There is some reference point which we say is the past, but there are other reference points which we say is the present. For example, let me come to the main issue, which is my real concern, the issue of human equality. My picture is that the past which we inherited and the choices which our predecessors made in the past and the social institutions which they constructed, they were around a particular context and the material situations and material structures which existed at that time, where inequality, social inequality, structures of inequality were logically connected with the material structures of society. What in short-term language is known as feudalism, monarchical system, authoritarian tyrannies. Modernity starts with the idea of choices, that means liberty and equality. The American War of Independence, 1789. The French Revolution, liberty, equality, and fraternity. Thomas Paine, the rights of man. Magna Carta. Now this concept of rights of man and justice. Philosopher Plato also talked of justice. Justice was defined as justice of the stronger. Justice of the stronger. He defines and decides for me. The kings decided for me. So justice from above. You begged for mercies. You begged. At the same time, even there have been slave revolts. Human beings, that's the moral of history. Human beings do not accept voluntarily oppression, suppression, and tyranny. They resist. So even in the worst arbitrary, authoritarian, cruel systems, there have been pockets of resistance. Resistance, what is the theoretical meaning of this? Why resistance? And resistance for what? That's the answer to the future, which you are resistance for what? Why are you resisting the present social order? There must be some explanations for this. Why are you dissatisfied with the present social order? Dissatisfaction leads to raising of questions. It was said by a social theorist, it is better to be Socrates dissatisfied than a pig satisfied. So dissatisfaction. Now if you are dissatisfied with your surroundings. You are dissatisfied with what is happening around you. And this is a key to the urge for future. If you are satisfied, if you are happy, there are many, millions of people who are happy with capitalism. They have internalized it. Books have been written. Human beings cannot be equal. Inequality is basic. Inequality has been justified, legitimized. So they have lived with it. For them, present was satisfying present. But for millions, it was not satisfied. Why? They said, no, we want equality. We want to be treated as equal. So the question of dignity of human beings. Why? Individual is real. This real individual lives in a concrete social structure. And while living in this concrete social structure, you make your own history. Man makes his own history. All social institutions, all traditions, all norms, all what is known as way of life is human beings' creation. God is created by human beings. God has not created me. Now, in the past, keeping in mind the requirements of the past, conditions of the past, answers were found. Present, what we call requirements of the present, new questions arise, answers that we found. And from this would be born what is known as the future. This is the meaning of Marxist social dialectics. The process continues, unending. Unending process of human quest. It does not mean that you will achieve everything. It does not mean that future is glorious. It does not mean that future will be very satisfying. Religion has outlived its utility. It organized tribal societies. It played a role. But you don't expect that it will be a role for perpetuity, for all times to come. Their responses at a particular time, Islam, Christianity, they were dealing with, in quotes, barbarianism. Everyone was cutting one's throat. That is, so read the history of origin. So they played a role. Prophet Muhammad played a role. Christ played a role. However, when you say Newtonian science was important at one time, not today, when you say Einstein was important at one time, not today, why don't you apply same logic to religion? What stops you from this? Either you say that whatever Newtonian law is, that is permanent. The scientist will laugh at you. They will reject you. It's nonsense. It's not done. And let me again give a entry point to you. The idea of progress. The idea of progress. Is it measurable? Is it quantifiable? First, at philosophical level, you have to decide it. And then you come to other questions. The idea of progress cannot be discussed unless until you also discuss its opposite, regression, reaction. You cannot discuss revolution unless you also discuss counter-revolution. So idea of progress, future, is also linked with this. Also linked with this. The idea of progress has been questioned. Is it progress that you make nuclear bombs to kill others? Is it progress that your maximum expenditure is on defense and military purposes? Is it progress? So the questions have been raised against the idea of progress, that human beings have not progressed. They have remained barbarian. They want to kill one another. And the history of wars, including modern wars, leads such people to conclude that there's nothing like progress. Contrary, is this the only meaning of modernity? Is war with lethal weapons, with nuclear bombs, the only dimension of modernity? The answer is no. What about other positive parts? Many positive things which you can associate with modernity, which is also a package which is known as idea of progress. So idea of progress has to be seen in a package and in a dialectical manner, the negative and the positive. And this idea of progress is linked with your question about the future. If you are not thinking, if nothing new is happening, that means the society has come to a dead end. Human beings cannot stop thinking. Your mind is disturbed every day. New questions, answers, new answers, faulty answers. My teacher of logic and philosophy said, if you don't talk nonsense, you can never talk sense. Ask a question. You will know your stupidity only after you have asked a question, after you have opened your mouth. So, this package of progress and the burden of the past, then you will get very, very enlightening answers. But if you worship the past, then idea of progress will not come. And with the idea of progress, the issue, basic issue to me is equality. It will never be talked. Equality is talked only with the idea of progress, only with modernity, only when human beings are finding answers to new questions. And since I retired long back, I was hungry to get an audience, a captive audience. I got it, but you please thank you very much.